Welcome, folks, to another edition of Inside Arm Wrestling, the home for all the news on arm wrestling, fitness, strength, and fitness competitions. Folks, 1 week out, or I should say week of out, for King of the Table 9. King of the Table 9, a Core Sports production, brings some of the best world arm wrestlers together, folks. And in arm wrestling fashion, especially we'll call it European or overseas. I believe actually the King of the Table is in Dubai. Middle East arm wrestling action. No lack of talent, folks. King of the Table 9 looks to bring some really big names to the table. It's always a pleasure to watch some of these events because it bridges the gaps internationally, and I think that's extremely important when it comes to arm wrestling, because it's really hard to truly find the best if you're only using social media as your tool. So King of the Table 9, folks, December 9th is a pay-per-view. Follow the Core Sports link. That'll take you to the pay-per-view. The top match, Devon Larratt versus Georgi, Tsevtkov. No shortage of talent on the table. In looking at this match, Devon came off of a very, very quick match with Denis Tsevtkov, made very easy work of him, decided to come back and pull Georgi. Georgi himself has been a very active puller with East versus West, has won his side of matches now for the last several events, has put himself into the top 3 conversation, maybe the top 1 conversation with East versus West. But these are cross promotions, folks. Whether it's East versus West, King of the Table, you're finding all of the same athletes competing. So we can kind of lump all this together. I think that's fair to be able to do. But King of the Table 9, Devon Larratt, Georgi Tsevtkov. Georgi has been a very, very quiet, very pleasant person on the social media side of things. So much so that I think Devon has kind of dropped down his vitriolic approach to promoting the match, which I don't know makes a very good marketing tool for King of the Table. Obviously, Devon's lead up with Denis really put a lot of eyes and attention on the arm wrestling world. This match, Devon certainly the favorite, Georgi the underdog. Georgi a big top roller. Devon kind of came out with a little trash talking earlier in last week, I believe it was, talking about pro nation versus amateur nation, pronation of the wrist and not being able to take Georgi's wrist, and he made it a point that will happen. And he said, there's a difference between him being a pronator and everyone else who are amateur nators or amateur nation. But there's not a lot of smack talk, folks. I think that match is probably a lopsided 3-0 Devon win. But give us your comments down below. Do you think Georgi has a chance to maybe stop Devon on the table? Do you think he can get a win out of this match? Do you think he can actually take the match in its entirety? I mean, that would be something, folks. For Georgi to come back and win, that would position him really on a different kind of level. I don't know if anybody looks at Georgi Tsevtkov as a world champion, ultimate world champion, if you will, in terms of the best on the table in today's arm wrestling climate. But it would be a great upset, at least an upset on Inside Arm Wrestling's point of view. But let us know your thoughts. Kind of looking around the event as well, there's another interesting matchup, which I think is kind of a lurking matchup, where you've got Hermes Gasparini versus Vitaly Laitlin. 2 different dynamic pullers. Vitaly is a super tall individual. We've seen him on the table multiple times. At one point was in the conversation as the best in the world. in the super heavyweight division. Hermes has been a tremendous puller, has had some big wins over the last year. He did take on a few matches that I think were ill-advised, and he's building himself back up as a contender. But this kind of is a dynamic match. I mean, Hermes has certainly put on a lot of strength and has increased his table value, in my opinion, over the last 12 months. And this is really a match where I think Vitaly keeps himself relevant in the sport. I mean, it's hard to say that both of these two gentlemen are irrelevant in the sport, but I think, there's always the talk about levels. I really think that Devon has created an all-new level, and maybe that has created some irrelevance, if you will, with everyone else. But, I think this matchup really puts one of these two individuals in a position to maybe take the next challenge against Devon. But who knows? I mean, certainly Levon is the lurking foe that Devon will want his revenge off of. But until that match can come about, we have to establish someone to be able to pull Devon, or maybe Devon doesn't pull for a while. We'll have to see. There are some other pretty cool matches in there. Some lesser known social media pullers. You've got Arif versus Serhi. Certainly a good matchup. You've got Lars versus Valera. A great matchup. But I think there's a matchup, folks, where I'm actually surprised that I don't see more smack talk. Larry Wheels versus Leonidas Arkona. This is kind of a quirky matchup. I mean, both of these guys have taken their shirt off on the table in order to, boast their extreme muscularity. Both of these men are put together like brick you-know-whats. Strength is at very least an all-time high with these two individuals. When I say strength, we'll call it gym strength. Last time these two individuals met, they were left-handed. Leonidas won that matchup. There's certainly been a lot of aggression or a lot of maybe some inner social media fighting and maybe some beefs that have gone on between these two. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know that either of these two arm wrestlers are truly relevant in that 240 to 265, 270 area of weight. I think Larry is certainly a strong arm wrestler, but I would not put him in the elite class. I think Leonidas is a strong arm wrestler. I would not put him in the elite class. And when I say folks elite, I'm talking about world champion elite. These guys are elite fitness specimens. Certainly could beat me 100 times out of 100. But I'm talking about when you're talking in the world-class championship conversations. I don't know that either of these two make it there, but certainly Leonidas is on his way there. It'll be great to watch. I mean, you could go back several years and see in some of the videos on YouTube and TikTok with Larry and Leonidas, practice pulling. It's certainly this is two competitors that have a storied past, and I think it's definitely worth the value of watching them. For me, my prediction, and as much as I do know Larry, and I think he's an amazing gentleman, certainly a marketing guru of himself and many of his other products like White Rabbit. What a great energy drink that is. I'll get a plug in for you on that one. But I don't know that Leonidas is someone that Larry can overcome. But it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I've looked through the internet, social media here. I'm not seeing a lot of smack talk. And honestly, to be quite frank with you folks, I'm not seeing a lot of ancillary marketing from just regular, the regular social media outlets on this. But I think it's an interesting matchup. I mean, it's certainly an enjoyable matchup, a potential rivalry to the future matchup that may draw some more attention. And then the last match I'd like to kind of touch upon, a good friend of mine, Sarah Collins, a sweetheart out of Texas, certainly a number one ranked left-handed puller, maybe actually number one ranked in Texas as well, right-handed puller. She's going up against Nisa Kamadan. I've gone online and I've looked at some of Nisa's matches. She's a world champion. She's pulled on the world stage for many years. Super fast. What she has in speed, Sarah makes up in strength. It's an interesting technique matchup here. I think Nisa off the go is going to be extremely fast. I'm hoping Sarah is able to slow that hit down. Sarah, who is definitely a power puller, in my opinion, is going to need to stop her off the hit. And in doing so, where will she be after round 1, round 2, round 3, energy-wise? But I do like the matchup. I do like it for 2 reasons, folks. On an international stage, what East versus West and King of the Table is doing is they're bringing an attention to women's arm wrestling. We did see Sarah Backman go over for East versus West. Unfortunately, she didn't fare as well as many of us in the U.S. had hoped. But I do like the fact that Sarah Collins is getting an opportunity to pull Nisa. We did see Elizabeth Mosek go over as well and compete recently. So it's really exciting, folks. And hats off to the guys over at Core Sports in doing King of the Table, in doing East versus West. I think they do a great job. It's definitely worth the pay-per-view, in my opinion. Tune in, see what kind of drama might come out of this, see who might be up for, the next big match on Devon's side. And ultimately, let's see if this rivalry or feud between, Larry and Leonidas continues. It would be great dramatically to see Larry finish Leonidas right-handed, and now we've got two wins by 2 individuals on opposite hands. Really kind of make a case to see who the better overall complete arm wrestler might be. That might be the further matchup. Maybe go back and forth left and right in a best of 7 to see who is the overall winner in the future. But folks, as always, anytime that you have an opportunity to see great arm wrestling, we do encourage you to tune in. It helps when you support these kind of events and promotions. It's only a few dollars for you to tune into the pay-per-view. Certainly buy it. And folks, if you like these stories and want to see more, as always, we want you to hit that subscribe button, like video, notification button underneath. It's important that we continue to grow. We are growing as a station and a channel, and I appreciate that. So in the future, the more that you're out there sharing us, the more value that you bring to the table in terms of helping us grow. We really appreciate that. Folks, as always, you know what? I want to remind you to train hard, pull smart, and lift safe. And tune in for us every Wednesday and Friday as we release Inside Arm Wrestling here on our YouTube channel. Folks, if you like these stories and you want to see more, please hit the like button and subscribe to our page. Also hit the notification bell underneath the video so that way you're notified every time a new video comes out. And if you're on social media, specifically Instagram, go to the World Series of Arm Wrestling Instagram page. Please follow it. We'll try to follow you back, but it'll keep you up to date with all of the news and events in the world of arm wrestling.